Hello everyone, this is Stephanie. Welcome to another video. So today we're going to work on the City Lights bracelet, and here it is here. So it's a right angle weave, and it's sort of embellished right angle weave bracelet. So here, I'll take it off. And I've used the right angle weave here as a netting. So this is what the inside looks like, and then the outside I've embellished with these Miyuki 3.4 millimeter drops. And then I have a cubic right angle weave shape, a circle or an oval that I've put here in the middle and just added a little clasp to it. So here it is, and why don't we get a materials list going right away. I also have an earring coming up. I just didn't have a sample ready yet, but I have an earring, and we're going to do a choker out of this one. There was a request for a choker, so there are going to be a lot of pearls used. Give me some time on the choker. I'll need a little time to get a sample made of that one. So anyway, here, I'll put this aside and we'll get a materials list going right away. So let me pull out a little bit. So for this, you're going to need either pearls or a 3 millimeter bead. Now I'm going to use these Jade pearls. Now I happen to have a ton of pearls. I have 3 millimeter pearls as well, and all millimeters, because I went crazy one day last year and I ordered a million factory packs. So that's why I've been using a lot of pearls, but you can use any 3 millimeter here. I think it will be just fine. So, just pick a 3 millimeter. Going to need some 2 millimeters, and I'm using the Druk bead here, the elusive Druk bead that we can't find anymore. So here, this is the nickel silver. On this one, I'm going to use these 2 millimeter fire polish. So these are 2 millimeter Druks, these are 2 millimeter fire polish. I say use an 11-0 if you don't want to get the Druk bead. They're just so much fun. We're going to use some drops, and these are the Miyuki drops. I'm doing silver. I'm doing the silver and jade or turquoise, whatever you want to call it, color combination this time, because this is what I have. You're going to need some 11-0 seed beads. Oops, my 11-0 seed beads just went flying. Like that. You're going to need, let's see, what else do we need? You need a clasp, and I didn't pull a clasp out, so let me grab one. So here I'm using on this one, I've used one of those Filagree clasps, but this is a 3-strand Filagree clasp. So I wanted to show it to you just because I've used 2 before, but this is a 3. So see how it has 3 rings there. But I mean, this is a very easy ending. I think you can put any clasp you like on here. You can do a slide, you can do you can peyote a little bit of a strip at the end. I thought of doing that. You can just put a little crystal. Let me just move everybody down a little bit. A crystal there. So, just the clasp of your choice. You'll need some Fireline. I'm using 8-pound black satin. I'm kind of into this lately. You'll probably use, the reason I use this black satin and the Fireline instead of wildfire on these pieces is that these sort of stitches, some thread may show. So the Fireline is just thinner, and it doesn't show the smoke as much as the black wildfire, but it's certainly up to you, whichever one you want to use. I would stick with an 8-pound. I like this black satin. It doesn't come off on my hands. The size 11 beading needle here. Let's see, let's pop in a little stop bead. So let me grab one. Just pop this in as a stop bead for now. There we go. All right, so really that's all you're going to need for this bracelet. So gather up your materials and we'll get started making this City Lights bracelet. All right, see you in a few. Okay, so before we get started, let's do a little measuring so you know how to get your bracelet size. So this is going to be made in 2 pieces. So we're going to make these 2 right angle weave sections, and then we're going to make this section and connect them. Then we have whatever size your clasp is. You have to take into consideration that as well. So for my about 6 3/4 inch bracelet, when it's closed, I'm making my pieces 2.5 inches each. So we have 2 2.5 inch pieces. Got, I don't know, somewhere between 3/4 of an inch and an inch or so there. And then whatever size your clasp is, I said you'll take into consideration the clasp. So you're really going to adjust the size of your bracelet by the size of these pieces. Add this piece on and the space for your clasp, and then you'll have your correct bracelet size. All right. So thread your needle with about a wingspan of Fireline. So we're talking 4 feet or so. Put on a stop bead, leave enough of a tail to sew in. I'm going to add to your thread a 3 millimeter, a 2 millimeter, a 3, and a 2. And I'm going to pull in pretty tight for this part. Just like that. So we're going to make this into a circle. So I'm just going to sew through all the beads. Just like that. So continue sewing around just to close it. There we go. Like that. Do this one. Then come through the pearl. Alright, so this is what we have. Just going to move my stop bead out of the way. So that's our first unit. So pick up a 2 millimeter, a 3, and a 2. You're coming out of here. Just come through the other side of the bead you're coming out of to put on another unit, just like that. Advance your needle through this 2 millimeter, back through this pearl, just like that. Pick up a 2, a 3, and a 2, just like that. Coming out of here, come to the other side of the bead you're coming out of, that your thread is coming out of, just like that. Advance your needle through this one and this one. Now you have 4 pearls on. Do that again. 2, and a 3, and a 2. Coming out of here, come around, come through the top one, through this pearl, pick up a 2, a 3, and a 2, coming out of here, through the other side, just like that. Advance through this one, and the pearl, just like that. Let's do that once more. 2, 3, and 2, coming out of here, come through this one, and then just come through this side one. This is where I want you to come out, because we're going to start. So we've got our 7 pearls on. So if you see on the bracelet, there's a line of 7 pearls, and then we're going to start going in this direction. So get to this point and then meet me back here and we'll continue. Okay, we're back, so let's get our second row on. So for those of you who are super beginners, I have several right angle weave videos that I will pop up links to on the screen up there in the corner and in the description box below the video that go into a great deal of depth learning right angle weave. I'm going to go, you know, at a good pace, but I'm going to try to explain it. So those of you who are experienced and you know your right angle weave and you've done it a lot, make your 2 strips and then meet us back here and we'll do the centerpiece together. So I'm just gonna go along with this, but if you really need a primer on it, then please go to one of the other videos. Okay, so I'm gonna take a 3, a 2, and a 3. Coming out of here, this 2mm, just gonna come around, just like that. Straighten my threads out, just like that. I have another unit on. Now I'm going to, at right angles, I'm going to go through this one, all right angles, this one, I'm going to come through this one. So I'm just going around the unit at right angles. You will not have any threads going straight through. And then I'm going to come up through this one. That's going to set me up to put some more beads on. Now sometimes when we teach right angle weave, we teach the unit as having 4 walls, but because I'm using, and you know, we're putting 2 walls on each time, you know, the corners, but because I'm using 2 different size beads, I'm not sure that would be helpful here. So I'm going to put on a 3 and a 2, so I'm just going to teach this way. Coming out of this 2, come through this one, just like that. Now right angles, come through this one. Pull on a touch more. Okay. Still going at right angles through this one, just like that. We have another unit on. So here we are. Pick up a 2 and a 3. We're coming out of this 3mm. Come through this one. To complete that unit, you're going to come across this one, come in a little pearl, just like that. To secure it, come through this one, through this one. Everything's a right angle, up through this one. All right, so just when I show you, when you look at these 2mm, there's no thread is going straight through, and that's what the right angle does in right angle weave. So you're going to have these little intersections with no thread going through. Pick up a 3 and a 2. Come through this one, up through this one, across this one, like that. Pick up a 2 and a 3, coming out of here, come through this one, do your right angles, have to move it a little bit to get to it. There we go. Okay, there. Right angle, going up, right angle, going across, right angle, setting up for more beads. Just like that. Pick up a 3 and a 2. Just like that. Come through this one. Come up through this one. All right angles. Through this one. If you're unsure where to go, just make a right right angle. And then I want you to come down this one. So now we're just going to keep adding units on. So I'll go through with you a little bit more. Pick up a 3, a 2, and a 3. Coming out of this 2, come through this one. Come across this one, just like that. Pick up a 2 and a 3. Coming out of here, come through this one, just like that. Come across, come through this one. So now I'm just going around the unit at right angles so I can put some more beads on. Come through this one. This one, just like that. Pick up a 3 and a 2. I'm going to attach to this unit these 2 beads, so come through this one. Here, come through the 2, right angles, here, just like that. Pick up a 2 and a 3, coming out of here, come up through this one, just like that, across this one, come down through this one. To keep going, right angle, go through this one. Through this one. Just like that. Pick up a 3 and a 2. Come through this one. This one. Come across. Just like that. Pick up a 2 and a 3. Coming out of here. Come up through this one. Across to your right angle, and then through this one. Alright, so this is what we have. So you're just going to keep doing that. Just keep repeating that. You're going to be going up and down and up and down. And if you're a beginner and you're doing it, just remember that because you're going up and down, it seems like the rows, you know, are sort of different, the way you put the beads on. It really isn't. You're just doing the same thing up and down, but you're just going up one time and then down the other. So it may seem like a little bit like, you know, a little bit different, but it isn't. So keep going until you have your length. So this is how it's going to be. So I'm just going to keep going in this direction until I have all my 2.5 inches on, and then make another one. And by the time you're done, you'll know how to do right angle weave, and you'll never forget it. All right, so maybe back here when you have your 2 pieces done. All right, see you in a few. Okay, we're back. So here are my 2 pieces all done, and that was pretty fast, and I hope it went well for you. As I said, go back to those other videos if you are having difficulty. So here are my pieces. I'm going to put these aside, and we're going to start the center. Just a note, if you happen to have, like on one of my pieces, I have a long thread left. You can just keep that on there, and we can use it to sew it to the centerpiece. If not, we'll just add another thread. So either way is fine. So thread your needle. It's about 4 feet of Fireline. Put on a stop bead and leave yourself a little tail. I put on my needle a 3mm, an 11/0, a 3mm, and an 11/0. I'm going to pull in super tight again. I'm going to drop those down to my stop bead. I'm going to make that to a unit, so I'm going to just sew through the first one. Then I'm going to go around all the beads. Just going to come past my tail thread. I'm just going to come through this one again, and then this one. Just like that. Pick up an 11/0, a pearl, and an 11/0. Coming out of this pearl, let's come around. Just like that. Come through the 11/0. And the pearl. Pick up an 11/0, a pearl, and an 11/0. Come out of here. Come around. Put on another unit. Just like that. Come through the 11/0. Come through the pearl. Just like that. Alright, just get to that point, and then meet me back here and we'll continue. See you in a minute. Okay, we're back, so let's make this into a cube. So here I am, I'm coming out of my pearl. I'm going to fold it up. So I'm just going to take one pearl and just fold it up just like that. Pick up an 11/0, come through this one, just like that. Pick up another 11/0, come through this pearl, just sewing it together here. Just like that. So this is what you have when you sew the ends together like that. Alright, so that's your little cubic right angle weave blob. But before you can continue, we need to connect these beads. They're not connected. There's no thread in between each one. So we'll start with this side. Whichever, it doesn't really matter. This is where my thread is coming out of, so I'm just going to, right here out of this 3mm, so I'm just going to come over to this little 11/0, and then I'm going to sew all the way around the unit. So this little unit of 11/0s, 4 11/0s, just going to sew around, just like that. Make sure that they're all connected, just like that. Then I'm going to, I just want to get to this side, so you see where they're not connected? So I want to get to this side, so I'm just going to come up this pearl. And if you haven't done this before, go to my cubic right angle weave videos. I go into great deal of detail to teach you how to do this, because it's a very frustrating stitch for many. So please go back to that if you haven't done it before. Okay, so then here I'm going to sew this group together. So I'm just coming up through this one, through this one, coming around. Very, you know, if you think about what we're doing here, we're just connecting these beads, just like that. All right, so this is what it looks like. That's what your whole unit's going to look like. All right, so I'm going to stop here just for those of you who might be struggling with CRAW a little bit, and just let you get to this point. So sew them all together and then meet me back here and we'll continue. Okay, we're back, and I have both my sides sewn together. So you see it comes with this cute little sort of cubey looking thing. So I'm coming out of a seed bead. I just want you to advance your needle through a pearl. So you're coming out like this. You want your thread to be coming out of the top of the pearl, just like that. Pick up an 11-0, a 3mm, and an 11-0. Coming out of here. Come around. Just like that. Rotate your piece. Come through the 11-0. Just like that. Pick up two 11-0s. Come through this 11-0. Come through the side 11-0. Just like that. Rotate your piece. Come through this one. Pick up an 11-0 and a pearl. Come through this one. Come through the side bead. Just like that. Rotate. Advance through the next bead. Just like that. Now you have 3 beads on, you just need 1. Come through this, just sew through the top bead. Pick up an 11-0. Come through this bead. Completed our unit. Advance through the side bead. Through the top bead. Just like that. Rotate. Come through this one. Now, just sew your unit together. Attach all these beads. So we're just coming around all the beads. Just like that. And you're ready to add another unit. So just continue doing that until you have 18 pearls on your, all in a line, and then meet me back here and I'll show you how to sew it together to make a circle. Alright, see you in a few. Okay, we're back and I have my 18 pearls on, so now we're going to make this. So before you do anything, sew in your tail thread. I already did that. Just get it out of the way because it can be annoying to have it get caught and such. So we're coming out of a pearl here. So we're just going to do this. So just hold it over like that. Pick up an 11-0. So you're coming out of this pearl. Come through this one. Just like that. Pick up another 11-0. Come through this one. Just like that. Rotate. Come through this one. Now we want to connect these beads. So we have 3. 1, 2, 3. Pick up 1. 11-0. Come through this one. Just like that. Come across through this one. Up through this one. Now you have that connected. So rotate the piece towards you. Come up through the pearl. Oh, my camera's complaining a little bit. Okay, come up through the pearl. Pick up an 11-0. Come down through this pearl. Just like that. Come through this one. Come back through the pearl. So we're just adding beads where we need to add beads to sew this together. Okay, and now the only thing we have to do is sew in the beads that are in the center. So let me see if I can get these so you can see them. So there are 4 beads in the center here that are not connected. So I'm going to hold it like this. 1, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. I hope you saw that. So I'm coming out of this pearl. I'm just going to come up through this one. Going to come across this one. Going to come down through this one. this one again. Okay, and that sews those 4 beads together. So at this point, you can come back up through one more seed bead on in the inside just to give it a nice snug pull. You're all sewn together now. You can do a little reinforcing at this point, so you can come through this one and you can reinforce around, and then at this point you're all sewn together, and you can sew around a little bit, so sew through some of your units just a little bit. You can tie a half-hitch knot. And at this point, you can actually leave the thread on. If you have enough thread at the end, leave the thread on. If you don't worry about it. All right, so here we go. We're done with this. So grab your right angle weave pieces, and then meet me back here, and we're going to do some embellishing. All right, see you in a few. Okay, we're back. So we're coming along. So we have our piece. Here are our 2 right angle weave pieces. Grab one piece. We're going to do this embellishment now. Now, when I did this embellishment, I used the Miyuki drops. I used 2 different color drops. So I used, I think these are silver, nickel silver, or silver plated maybe. I'll put it in the description box below the video. And then I used this blue color, which I will also put in the description box under the video. And I kind of adjust, I played with it. I did 3 blue, and then I alternated. I'm going to use all silver drops on this bracelet. But you can choose anything and do any pattern. You can even change the pattern. That's what's so much fun about it. All right, so here I am coming out of this side 2mm fire polish bead here. So make sure this is where you're coming out. Either add a thread or continue with the thread you're using. Just come through this pearl, just like that. I have all my drops here. Well, not all of them, but I have some. Come up through this one. So we're just moving our thread around at the moment. And this is the fun, easy part. You can do this while you're catching up on some of your Netflix series. Although it doesn't take long. All right, so I'm coming out of the 2mm right here. Pick up a drop. Come through the next 2mm, just like that. That drop into place. Pick up a drop, through the next one. Just give it a pull so it pops up. You want that dimension here, just like that. Pick up a drop, come through the next 2mm. Pick up a drop, through the next one. Easy, huh? Pick up a drop, come through the next one. Just like that. Sew through the next bead, which is that 3mm, and down this one, just like that. Pick up a drop, come through the next one. A drop. You get the picture? Easy, but what a nice impact it makes. Pick up a drop. To the next one. And what happens with this is it starts to curve, which is very nice. So it will start curling up, but it will also straighten out. So this one was a little more curvy when I started it. And as the thread relaxes a little bit, it will straighten out a little bit. If you want to pull it super tight and keep it all curvy, you can do that too. So I'm just going to keep coming through and putting drops on, just like that, until I finish the whole face of the bracelet. So, and then you see this dimension with it. So the reason I named it City Lights originally was because I didn't have this centerpiece, and I had done all blue drops, and when I looked at it, it looked like just like the lights on 42nd Street in the theater district in New York. So that's what it reminded me of. But then I put this on, and I still am going to call it City Lights. So just keep doing that. Just put one on. Come through here. It's kind of relaxing to do this after, you know, doing the rest of it. This is very simple. So just keep going and put all your drops on. So I'm just going to keep going, put all my drops on. Like I said, it's going to curl up. You can either flatten it out or you can let it curl a little bit. So put all your drops on both pieces. Okay, and then meet me back here and we'll put the bracelet together. All right, so we're back. So let's start putting this bracelet together. So a couple things before we start. One, my original circle here was in the nickel silver, and I just thought it was too dark for this. It was fine with the other one because I didn't have all silver drops. So when I put all the silver drops on, it made the silver really stand out. So I just did another one with silver plated 11-0s. And two, very important, when I showed you how to put the drops on in the last segment, I didn't realize it, but I had a thread coming from 1 2mm to the next, and the reason I had that there is I added a thread on, and I guess when I added the thread on I wasn't paying attention, so I left that in because you know, I like you to see when I make a mistake, and that way if you make that mistake, you see I just took them out. So I got about half done. I took them all out and I fixed where I added my thread on, and now I don't have a thread coming through anymore. So you know, just be aware of things like that. Sometimes you don't even see it. So keep looking back at your pieces to make sure that everything is good. All right, so there we go. All right, so I'm going to add this on, and a couple of things about adding it on. One, we're just going to connect the 2mm to the seed beads on the side of the circle. All right, and my camera's flashing at me a bit, so I'm just going to move out a bit. So on this one, I added them to the top row of seed beads here. So you see how it bumps out on the back? I'm going to do it the opposite. I'm going to make it bump up in the front. That way it'll sit flat on the wrist. It doesn't really matter. Actually, it looks beautiful this way too, but as I was making this, I thought, well, why don't we just try connecting it the other way? So the way we're going to do that is we're actually going to turn the piece around when we connect it. And then we're going to connect to the row of seed beads here. And that's going to make it bump up so that it sits higher. So this is sort of a designing moment. Either way is fine, but I kind of like it. I'm kind of liking it this way. So here we go. We're coming out of the 2mm. I'm going to see if my camera will cooperate. And I'm just going, because it's a circle, it doesn't really matter where you start your sewing on this side. The other side, we're going to have to do a little math. So just come through, coming out of a 2 here, just come up through one of the 11-0s on the other side. Just like that. And come across and come through the next 2mm. Going up, always going up. So this is kind of zipping up, isn't it? Just like peyote. Just like that, see? Come to the other side. Come through the next 11-0. Just like that. Just like that. Come on over, come through the next 2mm. I'm going to leave it loose so you can see the thread path. Coming out of this 2, just go up through the next 11-0. Just like that. Come across, go through the next 2. Zipping it up. A little bit. Now you can make yours tight. I just wanted you to see the thread path. Come across to the next 11-0. Come up the 2. Come across the next 11-0. Come through the 2. And when I pull, see how that pulls it together? So give it a nice tug. And this is what it looks like. So you see how see how it kind of flattens the one side, and the other one will flatten also, make it into an oval. So this is the difference. You really can't see the difference very much on camera. But so this is connected so that the bottom is sort of flush, and this is connected so that the bottom is kind of popping out a little bit. So either way. All right, so get that done, and don't worry, just leave the thread on. We're going to sew those threads in, but we want to use it to do a little embellishment too. So leave that on. Attach a thread to your other side, and then we'll come back and we'll sew this side up, and I'll show you how to do that. All right, see you in a few. Okay, we're back. So how to figure out how to get the other side on. You can just eyeball it if you want, but I'm going to do some counting here. So I'm going to sort of center my pearls. Actually, I put it in my needle in the bead I want to go through. So if I just hold it like this, here's let me get another needle. Here's my center bead right here. So I'm cutting the thing in half, the circle in half, 9 beads on either side. Here's the center bead. There are 2 here, 2 here. Okay, so here's the center. Now I want to count the seed beads up here. 1, 2, and I've gone down number 3. So here's the center bead, 1, 2. So you want to come down number 3, right there. Okay, so you're going to, I know that you can see this, but you know what to do? I'm going to put a little dot on my pearl, and hopefully I can get that off. Okay. Just help out. So here, this is the center. So 1, 2, 1, 2, and then here 1, 2. I've gone down number 3. 1, 2, 11, 0. Go down number 3. Okay. So I hope maybe that helped a little bit. So that is going to connect. Just get your piece on. So now just keep going through your beads like we did before. So come across the 2 millimeter, just like that. I'm going to do this a little faster because you've done the other side already. Just like that. Okay. Just like that. So you're always going forward with your needle and thread. Just going from side to side. Stop getting caught. Here we go. This one. Do this one. I'm kind of holding it and pushing it into place as I do it. Come through this one. Through this one. And then come through the last one, and then give it a pull, and that should put you right in the center. See that? So now give it a nice tug, and and when I pull this one, it should look just like that. So you see, that's how it's going to look. Kind of like it this. So if you see, here's the difference. I don't know, you really can't tell very much, but it doesn't, whichever way. I just thought I'd try it this way. All right, so there you go. So get that done, and then meet me back here. We're going to embellish the outsides and put the clasp on, and then we'll have a bracelet. All right, see you in a few. Okay, so here I'm coming out of my 2 millimeter. So I'm going to do just a little bit of an embellishment on the outside. So I'm just going to hold it in my hand for this. I'm going to take my 2 millimeters. You can actually get creative here and put anything on the outside. You can even put some drops there. So I'm coming out of the 2 millimeter. Actually, I'm going to turn it around because it just probably would be easier to do it on the way I sewed it on the back. And I'm just going to go through every one of these 11-0s. So take a 2 millimeter, you're coming out of here, just come through this one. Pick up another one. Through the next one. Pick up another one. Through the next one. next one. Pick up another one. Go to the next one, and you can come through a 2mm at this point. So when I turn it over, I have this little embellishment going on here. See that? All right, so now I'm just going to leave that. I'm going to come on the other side. I'm going to take a 2mm. I'm going to come through the next 11-0, just like that. Pick up another one. Through the next one. Pick up another one. Through the next one. Another one. One more. Just advancing through a 2mm there. All right, so now that we have the center sewn on, see that's how it looks, okay? You just want to make sure, you want to look at it, you want to make sure it's nice and tight. Give it a pull on either side. Look at your beads. If you have any spaces, give it, give it another little pull, like I see, like this one has a little bit of a space. See that? So I'm just going to pull, and as I pull, then I'm going to sew through another couple of beads. So here I am, and that pulls it together, and then you just want to tie off each side. So come through, come through your pearl, come through, come around a couple of units, get it nice and tight, and then you can clip off your threads. So I'm looking at this side now. How does that look from the outside? That looks pretty good to me. So now I'm just going to advance, just to tighten it up, pull, come through. Again, I'm coming through another 2mm, however you can get through. And then here I'm coming through a pearl. Right here. Come on, you. There you go. All right. So then when I pull it, I can actually cut my threads. I didn't tie the half hitch knots, but tie a couple of half hitch knots, and you can actually pull the thread. We're going to get to the clasp. I just want to see how it's looking on the wrist. Oh, that looks, I love it. I think that looks great. Okay, so there you go. That's what it looks like. So get that done, tie in your threads, attach a thread to the end to put the clasp on, or if you have a thread on the end already, that's good, and we'll get the clasp on and we'll be done. All right, see you in a few. Okay, we're back for a second because I had another design moment in my head. So I've pulled out some 3mm bicones, and I'm going to embellish the front of this. Now, originally I embellished the back with these 2mm, which gave it this really nice thickness and made it, you can see it from, you can't really see it, but it gives it, gives it a little bit of oomph and looks, you can't really see it a lot, but it does show, and it does, you really do need those 2mm back there. But then I thought, because I attached this one to the bottom of the unit here, I have an opportunity to really embellish the top to where I can't really do it as much here. I can only do it around the edges and use the 2mm when it's flush here. But when this is sticking up, I have this whole circle I can work with, where I can only work with partial circle, if you get what I mean. So, if you have some thread left over, or thread and needle, doesn't have to be a lot, come on through one of your 11-0s, just like that. Now this is optional. It just popped into my head, and I know that I kind of like simple things, but sometimes, a little bicone is always nice. So, okay, so I'm just going to go through each 11-0, and I'm going to put a 3mm bicone in between. Just like that. So attaching it, the centerpiece this way, you have more options. So I would suggest that you just do it that way. And that way you have lots of options. See, so I'm just going all the way around the surface with the bicones. So we kind of designed this on the fly, or changed it up. I mean, it happens sometimes, you know, but yet what's good about it is that you can stop at any point. Like, you don't have to do this part. You can stop before this part and it's fine. You can stop before you put on the drops, and it makes a beautiful bracelet that way also. So there are many, you know, there are places along the way where if you like it that way, you don't have to go on. It makes a beautiful bracelet in several different spots. So here I'm just going around, and if you look close, see, that's kind of pretty. It leaves a nice, you know, it makes a nice outside. So if you want to do it that way, you know, add those crystals on, add some crystals on, and then meet me back here and we'll continue. All right, see you in a few. Okay, we're back, so let's get the clasp on. So here's my 3-strand clasp. So I'm just going to attach. So with this bracelet, I put a pearl on. I'm coming out of the 2mm, and I put a pearl in between these two. For some reason, with the Druk beads, the round ones, the smooth ones, I was able to get a pearl in. This one, I was having trouble, so I'm just going to take a drop. And I also ran out of my silver drops. I absolutely have none left. The only thing I can do is take apart the earrings I made the other day, but I like them, so I'm not going to take them apart to get the drops, to get the silver drops. So I'm just, instead of a pearl or a silver drop, I'll just be using these turquoise drops. So coming out of here, just going to pop that on. Just a little space there. And then I'm going to come through my first loop, just like that. I'm going to pick up a drop. I'm going to come, actually no I'm not. I'm going to come through, so I've come through the loop, now I'm going to come through the next fire polish. There we go, just like that. Then I'm going to pick up a drop. Now I'm coming through the next loop. Just like that. See that? And then the next fire polish. Make sure you don't get caught. Just like that. So we have, this is what we have. Going to pick up a drop, come through the next loop. So make sure it's upright. Come through this way. Just like that. And then through the next fire polish. So we're doing that sort of same like peyote in a way, you know, of getting it. Just make sure you don't twist it. Okay, let's see, did I twist? No. So see how they've gone on? I'm like weaving in and out. So just like that, pick up a drop, come through the last fire polish bead, just like that, and now we have our clasp on. So you want to, at this point, come around. You can come through a couple of beads here. You can come through this, coming through this 2mm, and my hands are a little slippery. You can also, if it's getting tight, because the beads are very close together, just switch to a size 12 beading needle. So I'm coming out of this 2mm, I'm just going to pop back up through this one. Let's see, and come through this 2mm. And try to get through everybody again. I'm not going to do it, but just go through. So come through everybody again, come around, tie a few half-hitch knots, you know, until it's nice and secure. Just make your end nice and secure, however, whatever it takes to get that end secure. So get that done and then meet me back here. Do the other side, of course. You don't need me to do the other side. Just do it exactly the same way we did this side, and then meet me back here and we'll look at our bracelets. All right, see you in a minute. Okay, so here are our bracelets. So it was an interesting video, a little long, but we have several techniques we've done here. So we had the right angle weave, we had the drops, we had the cubic right angle weave. You know, so there were a lot of steps to it. You know, along the way you can, you know, you can leave some things off, you can add some things on. We had some good designing moments, which I thought was great. So here you go. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.